Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe.
Let's get right into it.
Yo, welcome back. This is episode 36, a little bit behind the scenes. This one is actually being recorded right after our last one. So this is the first time we've kind of gone back to back and tried to break it up.
I'm not getting paid enough for this shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid anything, but I'm not getting paid enough.
We should probably do this more often, obviously, because, we've had these like
The track
2-week
record.
lulls or,
Yeah.
people catching COVID and that kind of crap. But
Whoa. This guy's about to catch monkeypox. He's going to travel. He's going to come back with monkeypox.
I'll
Knock
tell you
on
what,
wood,
if I
bro.
come back with monkeypox, I am going to I'm going to kill people. No, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's bad because so the whole real quick, the whole thing with monkeypox, right, is that you can only get it from having gay intercourse, right?
I never
That's not
said
the
that.
Oh yeah, I didn't say you did.
Oh.
You don't snitch on yourself now. All right, I'm just saying. I think you can get it from like if you like some girl in New York said that she works as a clerk or something like that, and a homeless guy came in and gave her like fiat currency, like not giving crypto. No, I'm just kidding. But they gave him money, and from that, just a quick exchange, she got it. So I don't know how truthful that is or not, but
I don't think it's truthful at all.
You don't think it's truthful?
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's
Hey, man,
urban myth.
don't shoot the messenger, man.
Yeah. Look, we could get into the.
Already starting off good here.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyhow, I have a question for you real quick before we go any further with the Jake Paul stuff. I was thinking the other day about, well, okay, hold on. Before I get into that, how'd you feel about that TikTok I sent you with the two guys just like talking with like no meaning? Like the podcast thing.
Well, so I agree with it, right? So I think we talked about this, right? This podcast has been kind of all over the place, and originally when we set out, the whole premise of this was supposed to be to kind of bring up a topic and talk about the generational differences and how like your generation views it and how mine views it, right? And we
go off the beaten
we
path
have completely strayed away from that. It comes up every once in a while. So I think there is absolutely some merit in maybe having, at least like something that's kind of foundational that we talk about for maybe, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes, right? But it's the same thing every podcast. Like it's obviously like, we all listen to the interview shows, right? And it's an interview, so that kind of freelances. But yeah, we probably should have a little bit of structure, or at least something that's kind of repetitive and predictable.
Yeah, I agree. I just found it funny because there is people that have podcasts that just go on there and, like you said in the previous episode,
we do that.
We do. I think we do it to an extent. We're not going to sit here and we don't just get on and just like look at anything to talk. Like it has to have some meaning to our lives. Like that's not necessarily true.
I don't look at it as a bad thing necessarily from our perspective. Because this is a learning experience for us, right? So, we have clearly freelance. There's days where we both just show up into this room and just, start talking and there's no conversation ahead of it. There's no pre-planning. It is just literally us kind of going at it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That organically I think is cool. And this is kind of a learning experience. But if you are looking, I think, to, maybe even market it or something like that, you probably need some foundational structure.
Yeah. In the middle of that last sentence, I was like kind of like going back on what I said because I don't think there's necessarily something bad with that. I think the TikTok that I watched it's more so just making fun of the people that are kind of trying too hard. Not the one that I sent you, but a different one. That it's kind of like that trend of like how like just when regular people have podcasts or whatever, they just kind of maybe try a little bit too hard, and that's not the case for us. I feel like we're talking just about general things.
Yeah.
But there's some people that they're like, oh, like I don't know. It's just like kind of like a niche audience that I guess does it. But I guess kind of spinning off of that, that's why I was kind of saying it's like ironic because the question I'm about to ask you is like stupid, but whatever. It came up in conversation. Was the specific foods with specific drinks, and then someone was talking about like soda with like a burger versus milk in a burger, and apparently like there's people out there that don't mix the two together, because me personally, I don't care. Like I'll eat like I'll drink like coffee, right, and have like a sandwich or something, like mix it up. I don't care, right? But there's people out there that like only do specific things in specific orders. Like, are you one of those guys that has to have like, if you're going to be if you're gonna have like a burger, right? You're gonna have a beer with it. You're not gonna have like milk with that, for example.
I would never drink. I mean,
what? You're one of those people too?
no. I mean, I would never drink milk. Well, I don't like milk, right?
Okay.
So,
Right.
I mean, it's, I mean, I wouldn't, the idea of drinking milk with a burger just sounds completely like, what the,
Me, I don't
WTF.
For me, that doesn't matter. I don't know. That was just something that
I don't consciously think about it. I mean, I think there's, like you said,
I'll drink milk with anything. Like, I'll drink milk with, or preferably like almond milk or something like that with like a burger. I don't care, bro.
No, I just, so I don't consciously go out of my way to
think about something like that.
Drink a specific drink with a specific type of food, but I absolutely would never drink milk with pretty much anything other than cereal, right?
Oh, God.
No,
All right.
sorry. No.
And the last thing on food.
I do have milk in my coffee, right? So, I mean,
What? Okay, I'm going to say something, and this is going to be a hot take, quick hot take, nothing too serious. But, you know what is the most slept on dessert of all time? And I was thinking about this the other day.
Slept on dessert.
Slept on dessert, trust me.
What define slept on? I mean,
like slept on meaning like most underrated, forgotten about.
That's a slang from
Yes.
your generation.
So,
generational differences, because I'm like, what the hell's he slept on?
So hear me out, right? Root beer floats.
Okay.
Do you not agree that those, like, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to have a root beer float. Nowadays, I don't even see anyone having those.
Well, it's a younger thing, because I mean, Noah was the same way. Noah was a absolute root beer float junkie. Yeah. And he hasn't asked for one of those. I mean, I think it's just a younger kind of.
Dude, oh my God. And then people were telling me they put like Sprite with vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, you mix it up.
Crazy. That's a crazy take. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's actually nuts. I don't know if I would try that. I mean, maybe that'd be good. Vanilla.
But yeah, that's a not a generational. There's like an age. There's a window.
Okay, all right. Maybe I missed the window. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like you hit it, but then you kind of grew past it, and then it
rediscovered.
It's not a thing anymore.
All right, now that that's out of the way, I just wanted to start it with something more lighter, just because these are just some of the topics that I.
But are you one of those guys who uses like diet root beer and then plops a gigantic thing of sugared ice cream in it? And
when I was a kid, I wasn't even thinking. When I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about that. I would I just like get whatever. Like, birch beer was fire. Or like anything like that, Coke, just stuff like that. No, I know you mean.
I find it's funny, like people go with like a diet something and then they'll splash it with ice cream, and I'm like,
isn't diet?
Yeah, did I miss something here?
Diet's supposed to be worse for you than actual regular, right? Isn't it like a study?
I don't know if it. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's the chemicals create the same effect with your insulin levels, so it's not necessarily bad calories because you're obviously cutting the calories out. But what it does to you is the same thing that soda like kind of perpetuates this I'm always hungry kind of thing.
It does the same thing.
The Diet Cokes and the Diet Sodas do the exact same thing because it's replicating the same thing. So you end up I guess what they're saying is even if you're drinking Diet Coke, you end up eating or consuming as much because it still spikes your insulin and it messes up your body chemistry.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I never was huge into soda. Like when I was a kid, my neighbor
drink freaking H2O.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my neighbor worked for Pepsi. So every time like the new Pepsi products would come out, like I would obviously
have gallons of it.
He would have a lot. So like when I remember when like Sierra Mist was like coming back around, or like when they were introducing like Brisk like the iced tea thing. Yeah. When that was coming around, we were like, oh my God, like kids drinking that. As you get older, you realize like that stuff's no good for you, and that's terrible stuff. So drink strictly water, maybe tea, maybe coffee. Get it in there. Anyway.
It's funny. I'm kind of laughing to myself because we just had that last podcast that was
super meaningful. Now we're talking about this.
Super meaningful. And I'm like, we're having a freaking conversation about root beer floats and milk. I mean, what just happened here?
Yeah, right.
Like I just feel dumber all of a sudden. Holy shit! I really do. I feel dumber. Hey, so speaking on dumber.
Oh God, good transition.
So I think I told you that I ordered the Yeezy Gap.
Oh yeah, did it come in?
Long sleeve with the dove, and I held on to it as long as I could before I had to return it.
You returned it?
I had to. It's been 2 weeks, right? Yeah. So
wasn't good.
I don't know. So I said to you, like I ordered it just because of curiosity. Like I sure as hell don't need another long sleeve anything, right? I mean, we have a ton of our own shit, but my curiosity got the best of me. So it was literally a long sleeve tee. With the dove, on the back, right. And it was $140.
That's actually nuts.
Now, here's the funnier thing, right? the cost aside, right? It was ridiculous, but you're paying the yee factor. Is the sizing was so freaking jacked on this thing, it was ridiculous. Yeah. I wish I had kept it because I wanted you to see it. I ordered a large, which is kind of my typical size, and a lot of times, depending on the brand, right, I'll actually go between a large and maybe an extra large. Mm-hmm. I don't like tight fitting clothes, so sometimes I'll gravitate towards an extra large on some of these.
His stuff's like boxier, ain't it?
Well, this thing I ordered a large, and it looked like a freaking tent on me, and it was so long, down to my freaking ankles, like a dress. And I'm like, and it said like when you order it that you should size down, and I'm like, but it was just, I can't even explain it. I really wish you had seen it.
That's like the style,
but
now,
it was super long.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the hell is the deal with this?
Oh, it's long?
Long. Like it was down way below it was almost down to my ankle. It looked like a mini dress.
I'm trying to think how that compares because you bought the Gap
hoodie, which was
short. So maybe it's like a layering thing underneath.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's possible.
Because like he wants to like offset it. I don't know, but that's interesting you say that because I've had both sides of the spectrum where I've had like longer fitting clothes, like the essential stuff. I feel like that's always longer and boxier, and that was the style for a long time.
It was weird. I mean, and I'm to the point where I was like, and you can't exchange sizes, right?
Sure,
so it's not like I could return it and get a medium, right?
You can just return it for your money, right?
Right, that's the only thing they'll do. But I was so turned. I mean, look, I am me, right? But I was like, I was just so turned off. I don't want to buy any more of his clothes because it was just so. Yeah. I wish I could. I mean, you had to see it. You had to visualize it. It was so whacked. I should have videotaped it because it was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I find we've this is a repeating conversation, but I find it weird shopping for clothes nowadays just because we know what it actually costs, right? So when I go to the mall and I'm there. We were just there the other day, and I pick out some certain things, and then I see that the price is like $100+ or $200+. Where before I got it, and I know this is kind of like ironic for me to say because last time I went to the mall like 2 times ago, I bought the it was like a Nike Tech tracksuit or something like that, and it's like $110 for the bottom, $120 for the top, but. It just pains you to pay that much money, and $140 for a long sleeve that you're not in love with is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
I was losing my mind, and you know me, like I'm like I love the Yeezy stuff, but the clothing I'm done. I mean I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick to the shoes. Like give me some 350s and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm out.
I mean I don't know. I just feel like for me. Unless you're in love with it, like you said, like you love the shoes, so obviously giving the clothing a try makes sense. But I don't know, it's just hard to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I couldn't return it fast enough, and I actually sat on it for a while because I thought we could talk
about it. Right,
and it's a shame, but I mean, it was just it was just a really weird experience.
Yeah. Quickly, I wanted to update the people. I know we're going back to the food topic, oddly enough. Remember that pink sauce that I was talking to you about last time?
Yeah, the TikTok thing, yeah.
Right, so there was people that were very interested in that, and I kind of had some of the information.
Who are these people that are interested in this conversation?
Shout out to my boy Jarek. He was telling me all about it. Right. So basically, she was a professional chef as well. I forgot to mention that. And she was shipping it out without any like ice or anything like that, or any nitrogen or however you're supposed to deliver it. So when it got to the customers, he said that it was moldy and stuff like that. So she then tried to do it with nitrogen, and apparently it was that was what was causing it to blow up and stuff like that. So he just said that she was just an idiot essentially, and she should have known all this stuff prior to that. And shout out to Karen.
So it was like a mayonnaise-based thing.
Mayonnaise-based thing, and it has mold. So by the time you got it, and then she was getting the backlash for it. And since she was, this is apparently the thing that she was getting for it, she was using like race to like explain why people were hating on her. She's like, oh, because like I'm a young black business owner.
My God.
This is the reason why people are hating on my business and stuff like that. So
God, those people do more harm than good for their cause.
So shout out to Jarek, shout out to Kara. I know you reached out about that, so I just wanted to touch on that quickly because yeah. But yeah, that was about it for that. You were talking briefly about the Jake Paul thing. What's the word with that?
Well, so every time we take a 2-week break, right? Some bullshit thing comes up with this guy, and I'm like, I'm kind of over him as well now.
Well, if I'm not
the Tommy Fury thing got
Canceled.
axed, and then he was doing this Hakeem, whatever the hell his name was, right? The guy who
Hassan or
Hassan, right? Whatever. So that got canceled
because
the
Hassan
whole
didn't
fight
make weight.
now is gone. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
It just seems like such BS. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this guy. And
Yeah.
now he's picking fights with that Tate. Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, Hassan missed weight by like 10 or so pounds.
15 pounds or something.
15
like that.
pounds. Yeah. So you can't necessarily hate the kid because it is like his whole thing's built on hype, right? So one loss of a fight, regardless if he's 15 pounds overweight, it's gonna hurt your career a lot.
I get it, but
you know what I mean? So it makes sense for him not to take that fight. Now, as far as the Andrew Tate stuff, that was with Logan, I believe, and I feel like that, as of now, is going to sell a lot because Andrew Tate right now, the iron's hot, right? So you want to get that fight done by the end of the year.
That guy's running a legit Ponzi scheme.
So
he's going to be in jail before you know it, to be honest with you. If you ask me. I mean,
that's what
in
the
my
Discord
opinion
stuff,
only, right?
With the Discord stuff, right? With
no, he's got that.
the Hustler U, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he described that, and I'm like, this guy is literally describing a classic Ponzi scheme.
Right. So for the people that don't know and are kind of in the dark, Andrew Tate's a gentleman who we talked about in the last show. He is a red pill, I guess, type of gentleman. He's more so like he believes very much into men go out do the work, women stay home, and that's kind of his claim to
honestly,
fame.
he strikes me as a con man who is just hitting on people's nerves, and that's what he's doing.
Hitting people's nerves, and I think it's for entertainment. Like you can't take necessarily what he's doing too seriously. That's kind of my take on it. It's strictly entertainment.
Yeah. He's very good at it.
I mean, he's extremely good at gravitating towards a market of people that obviously feel like we talked about it before. Like when you're behind closed doors and you're just like doing locker room talk, like obviously like, oh my God, like I almost got in an accident with so and so, right? You know what I mean?
I also think he was lying. I think he's lying out his teeth
about what?
The number of people that have signed up for his programs, and I'm like, he's full of shit. So I mean, honest to God, I mean, I can't audit the guy, and he maybe who knows, maybe I'm just completely delusional, but I'm like, this freaking guy is lying.
So what Joe's talking about, he has a program which essentially he's selling,
teaches you how to be a man,
teaches you how to be a man, and teaches you how
be
to
the guy. Right? I'm like, come on.
Like it's like a business program essentially for people. It's $50 a month, and this is no way an advertisement. Please do not buy the course.
Yes,
this is not paid, not anything. So don't buy it. Anyhow, it's $50 a month. And his claim is that he has 108,000 users or something like that.
And it was like,
so quickly off the top, we're gonna do 108.
It's like $5 million or something. It's crazy.
Times $50. It's $5.4 million per month, by the way. And on top of that,
well, he had two. So he
has the War Room and then that. Right?
Yeah, and
I do like the research on him because this is a captivating person in the field. Like
so just so I'm clear, right? The university thing. I mean, if people are dumb enough to pay $50 a month, that's not the Ponzi scheme. It's that War Room thing he was describing that was the freaking Ponzi scheme.
Oh, I don't even know
because he's like,
about that.
I forget what it is. It's like I don't look.
The
don't hold
referral
this, but you pay money to get into this War Room, right? Mm. And they can, the way he described it, it was like you basically had this pecking order, where you either move up or you get booted out.
Right.
And he wouldn't kind of describe what the mechanisms are, what the milestones are to kind of move up or move down. But it was almost like, okay, you could put $2,000 in, or whatever the amount is, and they could kick you out a week later. Right. And I'm like, what?
So that's the one I don't know too much information about. I know more about the Hustler University because that's like
the
one that everyone knows. That's just like you're paying for a service.
You're paying for you're getting
you get to, and you move at your own pace, right? So think of it just like college courses.
I don't even
right.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So that's that. And he put out merchandise recently too. So he's definitely striking while the iron's hot.
Sure.
And, everything. So, I mean, you can't necessarily hate him for that because that's, we've seen that before. But I don't know.
He'll probably be gone before we are, so.
I know. I'm very interested. Like I said, I take everything what he says with a grain of salt. You have to if you're going to be looking at him. It's like a borderline entertainment / comedian because like some of the takes he says are absolutely like wild. Like the whole like OnlyFans and property thing. Like I think that one maybe was taken out of context from like a couple clips, but like it's basically if you're dating a woman and she decides to start an OnlyFans, you should be, because she's your woman or your quote unquote, I don't even want to say it, she's your woman, you should be able to take 100% of whatever she makes.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's
and yeah, so that's basically his crazy allegation that people are getting on him for. Now I don't know if that clip's taken out of context or if that's his own personal beliefs or not. But that's
so he's treating women as property. Well, look, I don't even want to get into this anymore. I mean, he basically is just trying to push people's buttons. That's his stick.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me just take the counterculture conversation and just run with it and
because
go over the top with it, and everybody will hate me, but I'll get all these eyeballs and likes and views and whatever.
I mean, look at the media right now as like an hourglass or whatever you call those things, the balls.
All I can tell you is like you listen to an hour interview with that guy and you listen to an hour interview with Mark Cuban or Elon Musk. Like at least like with Musk and Cuban, like there's some conversation about how these guys got successful, right? There's something you kind of come out of there thinking, okay, I'm a little bit more educated. Yep. You come out of an hour and Andrew Tate and you're like, what the fuck did I just listen to? I mean, really, what did I just listen to?
You're right.
Like I should be eating red meat raw and F the world. It just, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, okay, no, it's...
That's fair. I mean, I don't know.
Like I didn't gain anything out of it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Right now, I like your take on this real quick, quickly moving away from that. There's a current debate and rap going around right now with rappers associate with violence, saying we need to do better, or claims like that, like, oh, like in our communities and our culture, there's a lot of like crime and gun violence and so on and so forth. But at the same time, these people are rapping. They're rapping about.
What am I missing here? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's like the whole thing that just recently came out with a famous rapper, 21 Savage is his name. Ironically,
is he legendary up there with Johnny?
No, not Joey Badass.
Johnny Badass.
He's not quite on that. I don't know. He's all right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So basically, because I think a lot of the time these rappers fail to recognize, and this is someone that's not a rapper, can't even speak of it because I'm not really in the music industry at all anyway, but they're, I guess, what the youth is looking up to as far as like current, like even fashion trends and a number of things. Like rap and hip hop at the moment is so hot that that's what the youth is looking up to. So when you have someone say like, we have to do better, we have to do this, do that, you also have to make claims and say things a certain way. You can't just go on and say like, oh, this is this, we're going to go shoot this person, that, yada, yada, yada. So there's, I guess, just like a giant, I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword because like that's what the rap music is.
Yeah.
So if you take that away from it, then what do you have?
Right.
You know
that's
what I mean?
the challenge, right? I mean, these guys are all getting famous on these topics, right? Because it's very
it also could be their livelihood. Right?
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, but yeah, at some point, it's a tough thing.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough thing. But yeah, that's all really. And then the last thing I had on my, actually I have two more things, but this is one of the more, I guess, current things is, do you see that, what's her name? Serena, sorry.
Yeah.
Serena Williams, she retired.
She's retiring after.
She didn't retire yet?
No, I think she's participating in the U.S. Open.
Okay, yeah.
Which is sometime soon.
No, yeah, that's crazy.
That's the last one she's doing, then she's out.
Because we just watched the King Richard movie a couple months back, and their story's really great. You got to appreciate a good story, like with those two sisters. So that's really cool to see, like a living legend still being able to do what she's doing. Would you say she's a legend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Dope.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's cutting out to have another child or whatever, so full-time family. Hey, more power to her. Sure. That's what life's all about.
No, most definitely. But I think that was basically my rundown of stupid topics. I mean, not necessarily stupid, but I don't know. I really genuinely, like, I just was going through a bunch of TikToks while I was sick, and I saw like that with the pink sauce stuff, and then this cool video of this falcon and ferret combo, dude. So this guy, he trains these ferrets and falcons with each other. So the ferret goes under the tongue.
How do they not eat?
So they're like, so like he trains them since they were young, and apparently like a falcon has like 8 times the eye vision of like a human. So the ferret goes underneath the ground, scares all the rabbits and stuff out, and then he has the falcon on his arm. As soon as the rabbit comes out, the falcon goes out and kills the rabbits and stuff coming out. Dude, it's super cool. And I was like, bro, like I wish I had something like that. Like a real life like Pokemon trainer at that point. Like what the hell's going on? You know what I mean?
Oh my God! So that's TikTok.
That's TikTok, man. Yeah, it's one of the things.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, one of the things I got. You have anything on your list?
I know I did, and then I'm drawing a blank as usual. I gotta start writing shit down. I really.
That's what it is, man. I feel like if you don't write
So
stuff down,
this ought to be we don't put this on TikTok and talk about how these guys just get on and talk about nothing. Because I'm doing that right now. I'm like,
No, you're good, man. I mean, what else?
There was some shit. What the hell was it? I don't know. God damn it.
No, you're good. You're good. We have to put a cut here.
Yeah. Well, it's only like 25 minutes. We could probably do this as kind of like a midweek thing, just to
just put it out.
Cover some time.
You're good, man. Hold on. I'm gonna revive. Hold on.
Save the day. I talked about Yeezys, right? The podcast and how we need to be more structured, and this is a classic example of why we need to be more structured.
Okay. Here we go. Do you want me to like say resume or something? Or
no, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, one of the questions I got is from a buddy of mine, and it's how to stay consistent with losing weight. I feel like this is a good question for you to answer.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you want to take that one, because you did the keto.
Yeah,
so,
still do, kind of.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess talk about your journey with that.
Well, so I mean, the fundamental thing is it can't be a diet. It has to be a lifestyle change. That's the bottom line, right? If you want to be successful with losing weight, or changing your physique or whatever it might be, it has to be a fundamental lifestyle change, right? You can't go into it and say I'm going to diet, lose 10 pounds, and then I'm just going to go right back doing the same bullshit that I was doing before. You have to make that change and that commitment, and it has to stick, and it has to be ongoing. I mean that's the keto thing, right? I mean, I started that 3 years ago now. So,
how much weight did you lose with that?
So I guess in the first 6 to 9 months, I lost almost 50 pounds.
Damn.
And I've pretty much kept that 50 pounds off, right? And that's the
consistency.
That's the challenge. And every once in a while, I'll sort of, I'll lapse for maybe a day or two on food and just kind of go batshit crazy, like Thanksgiving or the holidays. And if I start to see the weight going back on, I just kind of fall back into that lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle. That's the fundamental thing, right? It's not a diet. I mean, everybody goes, "Oh, you're on the keto diet." I'm like, no, that's not really how it works.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense because when
I mean, you cannot look at it as a diets or every diet fails. Period. Right? You'll have a temporary gain and you'll end up with a net loss.
No, for sure. I mean, I think what people get stuck up on, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just constantly looking at the scale, right? Like if you constantly look at the scale, I get it, like it's addicting to do, but if you just solely focus on, oh man, I'm up 3 pounds this week, or I'm constantly down, like obviously your weight fluctuates.
Yeah, just to give people some perspective on that, because I don't intentionally do it, but I mean, I weigh myself every time I take a shower, right? So I literally, I in a single day, I can probably gain or lose as much as 5 pounds.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. And
water weight is a real thing.
If I am outside in the summer, doing yard work for 4 hours, sweating my ass off, and then I go in and take a shower, I literally can lose 5 pounds. And then the next day I gain that 5 pounds back. And people like on the surface will be like, holy shit, I just gained 5 pounds. And you can't look at it that way, because water weight and stuff like that really can have a if you look at it day to day, there's so much swing that could happen. Absolutely.
I mean, and people get caught up. I feel like another point to that is, oh, I only lost 1 pound this week, or I've only lost 2 pounds this week, when in actuality, so let's say you're on the higher end of 300 pounds. If you lose 2 pounds every week or every month or whatever it is, that 2 out of 300 number is not that bad. Like that's a high percentage if you're looking at it from that point of view. So if you're constantly going down from 300, 298, 290, that number is constantly going down. So I would just say stick on that path of, constantly getting better. Don't hang yourself up on that. And like Joe said, it fluctuates so much in a day. Just work on overall all right, let me start off with cutting it, like on the last, or was it this one that we just talked about, the soda, like cut that out completely and see what happens, or cut
I mean, it's
certain things out
it's
completely.
kind of cliche, right? But I mean, you have to set realistic goals.
Yeah.
Have milestones, and if you don't hit them, don't lose sleep over. Just as long as you're progressing in the right direction, that's the thing. But I mean, it is. I hate to say it, it is as simple as just making it a lifestyle change versus something that's just you're doing it for the sake of doing it, and and then you're going to go right back and do those old bad habits right away, right? So
and do like 10 push-ups.
But if you want short-term gains, if you're a soda drinker, kill that shit and drink water. You'd be amazed.
Water's crazy.
You'd be amazed at how that one simple change, that and candy, right? Cut out candy, cut out sugars. If you can stop eating the processed sugars, win.
I know. Speaking of which, it's funny you say that. Taylor just bought on Amazon these sour candy strips, and I've had like 3 of them or 4 of them, and I had one in the morning. It was like 12 o'clock at night, like that type of morning, and it made me go to the bathroom, bro. And then I did it the next morning. I'm like, bro, there's no way that, like, because I never go to the bathroom at like 1 o'clock in the morning. This is so weird. I had it the next day.
Your body's processing sugar.
I had it again, and it made me go to the bathroom again, bro. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? Is there like laxatives in it? And she bought it. It was like $15 for like a 64-ounce tub of this stuff. Pure like
shit.
Purified sugar, right? Exactly.
That is literally shit.
Yeah. So that was that. The next piece of advice that someone asked is, one piece of advice that I would love is what to do when you're completely lost. How do you get your life? How do you get going in life? I'm completely bored, or I'm lost, or said something like that. I skipped past it. I could take this one off the start, and you could fill it. Kind of go in. This kind of is another piece of advice.
Well, see, this is a generational thing, because I mean, I'm sure people in my age get lost, quote unquote lost, but I mean, I got so much shit going on. I don't have time to get lost.
Well, yeah. I mean, what if there's? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. I mean,
what I mean? I mean, I something's going to get me. Something's going to redirect me. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Like when you own a house and you have kids and you got a job, it's tough to get lost. Right. You might have like a moment of, I don't know, depression, or you just don't feel like doing anything. And I've kind of had that this week, but there's always something that snaps you back, right? I mean, at least for me, there's always something that kind of
I mean,
brings you around. So I guess you don't want to fall into the pitfall of getting stuck in it. Is just look for take a minute and kind of think of what you need to get done, and if you'll eventually, I guess, stumble upon something that's going to get you motivated to get going. You just have to find it.
Yeah, I mean, this piece of advice comes from my friend. He said, "I'd take things at your own pace. It doesn't matter about what other people are doing or a comparison." And I agree, because if you're trying to compare yourself to other people, or you're constantly saying, "Well, this person's doing that or this person's doing that," you're always going to put yourself in a losing mindset.
Oh yeah, well,
right away.
Yeah.
So if you could get over that, then you'll feel better overall. Now, as far as proactive things to go, or like things to do, like Joe said, set yourself goals, whether it be long-term macro goals or micro goals of like, all right, long-term, I would like to start a company of whatever, like in our case, clothing, right? So like that's like kind of like one of the overarching goals. How do I turn this into a successful, sustaining day job, right?
Yep.
Now, micro might be, let me get through this week without having any of those negative thoughts, or let me get through this day without having any of those negative thoughts. What's something that I could do to make tomorrow better, in the sense of, if it's a job, or if it's like something that you're just willing, like not necessarily enjoying what you like to do, just send out applications to other places, or do something as small as that to, at least in your head, think that you're doing something proactive,
Yeah.
Just so you're, at least making somewhat of forward progress. You're not just sitting there and just saying, "Oh, my life sucks. What could I do to get better?" without actually taking the steps to do something better.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, I guess you got to set realistic expectations. This is almost like the diet conversation, right? So, I mean, we all have our lanes that we're sort of running in, right? So you have your job and you've got your responsibilities and stuff like that. That's sort of your swim lane. Mm-hmm. And then you have aspirations to kind of go outside that swim lane, which is not a bad thing, but you have to also understand that you're going outside of your swim lane, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of have a different set of expectations. And if you start to look at others, and set your expectations based on others, that's where you really get yourself in trouble, because, you know, we're all different people, and we all have different skills and stuff like that. So if you are aspirational, by all means, be aspirational, but as you sort of stretch outside your swim lane, just make sure, you know, you're being realistic about it. And if it's not working instant gratification style, a la Amazon delivery, right? Don't lose sleep over it, because that's a difficult thing to do.
Absolutely. And last thing, if it more so upon your mental health, I think I found this like quote from somewhere. Someone said something along the lines of, if you look at your like mental like well-being as like, think of it like an art project, right? And bear with me here. When you're an artist or you're creating something or you're painting something, you're always going to go, but when's the moment, like you're going to constantly add stuff to it. You're going to constantly touch something up. But how do you know when something's actually finished, right? Like, how do you know when that final product's actually done? And that's something like as a graphic designer, when you're constantly touching stuff up, like when do you call that end point the end point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to keep just touching stuff up. You're going to have to keep adding stuff. You're going to have to erase, add, subtract, rip, anything. So, if you look at that point as kind of how you should look at your mental well-being, I think it could, you know, if you just kind of think of it when you're in your lowest of lows.
Boy, that's a really good one, because I am never happy with my own work.
Right,
ever.
exactly.
I mean,
so how do you know when to put the period at the end of the line?
I mean, at some point you don't have a choice, right? You there's a deadline, or there's a hard stop, and you basically have to turn something in. And even if you're struggling with the fact that it's not complete, right, you have to turn it in. So that's your end point. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm my own worst critic, right? I am never ever content with what I do. So I can only imagine as an artist, that's got to be a real pain in the ass. So maybe that's what drives them on, though. I mean, you know, you do a piece, you sell it, or you put it up on the wall and you say, yeah, I can do better, right? And
and that's, I feel
maybe
like,
that's how you progress.
Yeah, there's some people that are genuinely on the back end of it for the business side of stuff. Like for the clothing stuff, like the whole reason that we got into it way long ago was like putting stuff on, you know, just clothing just to design it. And obviously like the monetary compensation was always nice. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like the whole thing was like, I love the process of designing it. Then the anxiety comes from, all right, now it's time to put this on the website and hope people reciprocate it, you know, and buy it and consume it and everything like that. And that's oftentimes a lot of the time of, you know, what holds people back is the fear of not knowing, or the fear to try something new, like Joe said, and treading into different waters and doing something new. So that's kind of like a long, exaggerated answer, but I hope that could help someone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
so I do have two things before we close this out real quick. So I am curious, how do you handle crowds? I mean, are you
crowds? It's good conversation.
And the reason I bring this up is I am not a crowd person. Like, you know, as soon as it gets like kind of like I went with Ida to this craft festival thing, and it was just you know a sea of freaking people, and we went first thing in the morning, so it started off, you know, wasn't too bad, and then as the day progressed, my anger level just kind of increased, because I have no patience for stupid shit, and you know, like people stopping in the middle of, you know, walking past, and when I get around crowds, I just start to lose my shit.
That's what I was gonna say. Does your thing come from like people? Like, do you feel like people are like watching you, or does it come from like and it comes from like you just said, like people just doing dumb things, or like just kind of like just an anger point of view? Yeah, I don't know. Around crowds, I'm all right. I think.
I wonder if it's. I mean, because I'm trying to think how I was. I think I didn't have problem as you get older. For some reason, I guess maybe. I don't know. Maybe it grows on you, because I can't stand like.
Well, I know like I get the same way, and I know you get the same way with like if you're like driving and like someone does something stupid in front of you, or like you know what I'm saying. Like I get that. So like I guess if you convert that into like what people do in like I guess like not a driving scenario, I get that. I feel like my big thing is just like I hate having people feel like they're waiting on me. Like if I'm like at like the mall and I'm ordering something or I'm doing something like that, like I have to rehearse the menu of what I'm gonna order like 4 or 5 times before going up to order it, just so like I don't feel like the people behind me are like, oh Jesus, like what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah,
like,
you just like that.
If you get to like the Starbucks line and then you're like in the drive-through and then like the person in front of you keeps getting drinks, 15-minute wait, you're like, Jesus, what's this guy ordering? I don't want to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
So I have to mobile order it or do something like that. So
I don't think I'm too self-conscious because I pull the trigger, man. I don't.
Yeah, you just
like restaurants. Like, what do you need? Boom. I mean,
yeah, like the restaurant thing. Yeah, I guess if like that's kind of different because the waiter's waiting. So it's like if you're at like a self-service like Chick-fil-A, right, where you're like, I'll take a number 5 with this. And you're like, all right, come on, buddy, like let's get moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do get that. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just my take.
That. I don't my angst or my
Your inner hatred, your burning fire.
Isn't that I'm conscious that people are looking at me. It's just I don't know. I just like it was one of those things that I kind of came up and I was like, I wonder if it's
your inner Tate's
as you
out.
age, you sort of just again get jaded and just like I can't stand people.
Yeah,
I don't like being around people.
That's your inner Tate coming out, man.
Is it? Oh God.
No,
yeah, and then I guess the other thing is when you bought your car, did you buy it? I mean, did you kind of sit down and kind of go through all the salesman stuff?
That's me. Yep.
So the other thing I'm kind of curious is like, did they like put you in the finance office and then try and sell you all this extra shit?
They did sell me some extra shit.
And they did sell it to you.
Well, so listen, right? So this was my first time buying a car. I bought a brand new car because like I was like, I'm not gonna. No, that's false to say. I had a used car. It was my mom's car. But I knew the problems that came with that. And I was like, all right, I'm in a place where I could afford buying a car. It's used, but it's like new to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Still, you went to a car dealership.
Right.
And
so I did try to do the negotiations. And this is when COVID was like at an all-time high. So interest rates were extremely low. I got it for a really good deal. Now, when they sat me down, I went at the right time, in my opinion, because it was close to close. So the guy was trying to get the hell out of there. So there was no like, oh, hold on, we have to go to the back and bullshit for like 2-3 hours, right? It's just like, all right, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. We're going to like, do this. He sold me an extra thing. It was just for like if my radio broke or if anything from front to back, if any electronics, that type of stuff breaks. Not like the wheels, not like the body, but just like if your air condition broke, which it did. It broke and they fixed it. It was $549, completely free. Like didn't have to pay anything because I already paid the $2,000 when I bought the car, right? So I got some return, I feel like, on that. But yeah, that's the only thing I bought. I didn't buy like the, I guess, extra stuff, or they were trying to like maybe like upgrade me to a new car. It was just like,
it's funny because I mean I walk in and it's like as soon as I go into the finance office, I tell the guy, look, don't try and sell me this shit. I'm not going to buy it.
Really?
And he looks at me and he just slides me the paper and says, can you just sign here that I offered it to you? Because I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. Like, and actually when I picked up this Jeep,
Joe got a new Jeep, by the way.
I call them and I'm like, hey, I see this on your website. Do you actually have it? Because it's super hard to get. And the guy's like, yes, it's here. We have it for sale. And I'm like, okay, I can probably come in tomorrow. Can you confirm that you are not charging more than sticker price for it? Right? Because that's the other thing nowadays is, we're going to charge you a market adjustment fee. And the guy's like, oh, yes, we are charging $2,000 over list price. And I'm like, I'm out.
Oh, really?
And that's it. And 2 seconds later, he's like, if you come in tomorrow, I'll give it to you at the list price. I'm like, okay, great. Here we go. Right?
Dang.
It's on. But I mean, it's funny. I was sitting there in the thing and I'm like, I bet you like Dave, he must have sat through and listened to all the bullshit.
Yeah,
I want to sell you the leather conditioner shit. Oh,
not that stuff. Just what I bought.
But
that's
the only thing. They're so good at it. And I'm like, there's people that buy this shit.
Yeah, well, I told you I went at the right time. Go when it's closing, man. They want to get out of there. They have a family to get to. You know what I mean? So they're not going to sit there and try to negotiate back and forth on that. But I have two things. First of all, you got the electric Jeep. How is it? Like, I mean, I didn't even know Jeep made electric.
It's not a full electric. It's a hybrid.
Okay.
So
it's cool.
As an engine and the electric, but for our use, it should be pretty good because most of our trips are just local anyway, right? So it's in and out.
The blue with the gray it's like a good,
yes,
it's a very nice like accent.
It wasn't the choice that we were looking for,
really?
But again, I mean the choices were few and far between because it's a super hard Jeep to get.
Yeah.
But I love the color. Yeah.
No, that's super. I really like the color combo on it. The second thing is like, was it bad right now with buying a car? Isn't buying a car right now?
I mean, here's
like
the deal,
buying,
right? It's a shell game, right? So I actually even said to the guy, I walked in and I was like, you know what? I can't believe, I mean, I literally am having a hard time coming in and having a conversation about paying full Windows sticker price for a freaking car. I mean, I if you had said that to me a year ago, I'd be like, you're fucking out of your mind. I would never even come close to that, right? And I have bought Jeeps before and you get a significant discount under it, but that's not the world we live in right now. So here's the deal, right? You're paying a premium, or you're paying like full list price on the Jeep, but the trade-in values, if you're trading something in, are just as equally stupid. So it's a shell game, right? Like, so they're moving the numbers around, like, and so we traded in our Jeep, and I went back and looked.
Did you get a good deal for it?
So I bought the Jeep that we traded in. I bought it 4 years ago. Out the door, I paid $51,000 for it. I traded it in, and the trade-in value was basically the equivalent of about $45,000.
No way. So you only lost six.
So in 4 years, I lost $6,000 in equity, which, you know, for
Not
cars
bad.
is just off the charts, unheard of,
That
right?
is
And
crazy, yeah.
and again, it's a shell game, right? I paid a lot more for the Jeep than I would have 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but I also got a shitload better trade-in than I would have gotten 3 or 4 years ago. So it's kind of moving the numbers. If you are going in and buying a car and not like trading something in, this is not a good time to be buying a car, right? Because you're paying top dollar. But if you got something to trade in, you're getting top dollar for that trade in. And I sold the Bolt, right? And it's the same thing with the Bolt, right?
Did you sell it to the dealership, or is it
no? So I sold it through Vroom.
I've seen the purple. Is it purple icon?
I don't even know. I think it's red. But basically, it's an online. It's like Carvana. There's like these online AutoNation. So you basically just go online and you basically put in the VIN number, and they come back and say, "Is this your vehicle?" And they ask you some questions about its condition, and you either instantly or within an hour or so you get a quote. We'll give you whatever it was, X dollars for it. And so normally when I'm going to buy a new car, I use them as the gauge for how much I should be getting on the trade-in, because they're usually on the higher end. So I went and got prices for the Jeep, and the Jeep numbers were all super low, and the dealer trade-in was way higher. It was weird. But then I was like, let me also price the Bolt. And the numbers I got for the Bolt were just insane. I was like
low?
No, high.
Oh, the Bolt was high.
So I was like, holy shit. And it was the same situation, right? I mean, the Bolt was a little weird because it's got some the tax credit stuff and stuff like that. So
and fully electric, by the way, right?
Yeah. But I got such a great number on that. I got to sell this thing outright. Yeah. And I did.
Do they care about the windshield?
So here's the thing about that, right? So what happened was I basically was trading it in. They ask you about the condition. They see any damages, anything like that. It had a cracked windshield, a really bad cracked windshield that was on the passenger side. And quite frankly, I just kind of have lived with it, and it wasn't any big deal. But I was like, okay, I know I'm trading this in. I know they're going to ding me bad on this. So I'll pay to get it fixed before they pick it up. So I schedule Safelite to come out and fix the windshield like the Tuesday, and they were coming Friday to pick it up. So I have it all scheduled, right? The guy's supposed to show up, fix it. It's not going to be a big deal. It's going to cost me like $500 out of pocket for the deductible, and it's less than it would have been the ding on the thing. So the guy calls me Tuesday and says, hey, the windshield came in and it was cracked, so we have to reorder it. We can't come out until Monday. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, shit.
The car's getting picked up on Friday. So I was like, shit. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Right? Reschedule for Monday. I call them up and I'm like, any way I can push the pickup out? And they're like, oh, we're on a schedule. We got to pick it up Friday. So I was like, oh, shit. So I was like, well, okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to take the hit. So I wasn't home, but Ida was here, and they picked it up, and they fill out a form, and they don't make any reference to the fact that the windshield was cracked when they picked it up.
Oh my God. So you got lucky.
Well, so I'm like, okay, they're still gonna when they do the inspection, when they get it
They're
back
not
to
gonna let
where it
that
is,
slide,
they're gonna send me a thing saying, hey, we're taking off this amount of thing. I get the check for the money they owe me, and there isn't a penny deducted from it.
Damn. You got
And
lucky.
I'm like, what just happened here?
So
Right?
you saved $500.
So I ended up saving myself $500, but I was like, wow, that's kind of a weird way to do business because I mean that windshield needed to be replaced.
Yeah.
I mean it was cracked, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow,
I know
that's
you were
kind of
saying
wild.
that. You were just saying like you don't want to replace it because then you're lucky like you get it cracked.
So
the same
I mean,
day.
it was a great experience for me, but it was kind of one of those ones that had me scratching my head, going, "How the hell do these guys make business?" It's like I wonder if this is like a Russian money laundering scheme.
Yeah, well, typically when the businesses
I
don't
got
care
paid.
about
They paid off the loan, so I'm like, I'm in the clear. But I was like, wow, that was kind of interesting.
So I guess the last thing I have to say about that is, where do you are you like currently still waiting on the EV? I know you were talking about the Hummer EV.
I am still waiting on
You're
my
still on the-
reservation. Yeah,
Damn, that's still like how long? When did you reserve that?
I reserved it in October last year.
So it's going on a year
no,
now.
was it 2 years? Yeah, a year.
Year, right?
October.
21.
No, was it 2020? It's a long time. I mean, it's
Damn, dude. So yeah.
But I'm still waiting. And here's the problem. It's so frustrating, right? So for those who don't know, like the Hummer EV, right? It's, it's the hottest car on the planet kind of sort of deal, right? So if you were one of the ones who got it early, like you were flipping it for, it's what the hell is it? $115,000 list price. People are flipping them for like 300 grand. And, for
the
even
early
now,
ones, right?
Yeah. And even now they're still getting like 200 to 220. So, it's one of those things where shit, it comes in and you turn around and you say, oh yeah, all right, I just made 80 grand for basically,
Just holding it, right?
whatever. And not even just flipping it. Right. And it's so funny. Like I'm on all the enthusiast forums and people are like, you suck for flip. I'm like, dude, how can you fault anybody
for getting quick 80
for
grand.
flipping and making twice their money for nothing, right?
guess for like
how can you just can't
For like the hardcore Hummer guys, maybe. But
look, I'm a hardcore Hummer guy, right? I'm driving an H2
Well, yeah,
for
that's
Christ's
true.
sake, right?
That
So
is true.
I'm a hardcore Hummer guy. I want one really
Yeah.
bad, but I'm like, how can you fault somebody, including myself, if I'm gonna flip it and make 80 plus or even more, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that sucks is here
It just sounds
I
like
am.
people salty about not getting the reservation.
Well, yeah, I know. I get it. I understand. I understand where they're coming from, but it's just, it's like the lottery, right? But anyway, so I'm waiting for mine, and I'm watching as all these people are getting deliveries and making this money, and I'm also watching as that number keeps coming down and down and down and down. I'm like, son of a bitch, man. It's all like your place in line, right? So by the time I get mine, I probably won't be able to flip it and make any money, and then I got to make the call on whether or not I can even afford the goddamn
I was gonna
thing.
say, so when do you have like a number in mind? If it like reaches base price, are you gonna stay like, all right?
I don't know.
You just gotta play by ear.
I mean, for me to afford that, I got to make some serious sacrifices, or I have to figure something out, right? I just can't. I
was gonna say like that's
because
it's a commitment.
I shake my. That's the other thing. I shake my head. It's like, man. I mean, I make a pretty good living, but I'm like, a car like that, if you were to finance it, it's going to cost you like $1,800 a month for 7 years, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
That's like some serious money, man, right?
Yeah.
I still have a lot of soul searching, and have to kind of figure out what the hell's going on there. But
you'll figure it out, man. I don't know. That's just like weird though that it's still like that's like the Roadster and stuff like that, and the other Tesla one, the truck.
Yeah.
It's like they're so far like pushed back. I mean.
Yeah, but the bad thing is though, nowadays with a lot of these cars, it's speculators. In theory, it's a bunch of people like me that were like, okay, I'll put my $100 down and hopefully I'll hit the lottery and get one of the early reservation slots and flip it for 300 grand, right? Yeah. And I had no interest in really buying the car. I'm just speculating, I get it. I get why people go, they suck. And I'm not that person. I really want the car, but at the same time, if someone's going to offer me 100 grand more than I pay for it instantly, I'm running, right? For me, that's kind of, it's not life-changing money, but that's seriously,
that's like a salary. That's like a salary.
Like serious money, right?
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm not a millionaire, right? So
no, I mean, I don't think no one will fault you. I think it's just the people that are like salty that they didn't get the reservation, like you said, man. So, yeah, it's neither here nor there. Last thing, what did you get good on the Jeep? What's the electric? Like, how far does the electric go?
24-ish miles on electric.
Like, what's like the tank size? Like, does it go by that, or does it just go like 24 to the mile? Like I
don't know what the estimated mileage per gallon is, like 40 or 50 miles per gallon.
Damn.
When you combine it with the gas engine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for us, like I said, I mean, most of the, it's not really my car, right? It's Edith's car, right? And she's going to the school and back, or to shopping and stuff like that. So
not like cross country stuff here.
No. So I mean, generally speaking, it's perfect, right? It's not a lot. I mean, the electric range is really kind of shitty, all things considered. But we had a Jeep, right? And she's easily spending probably $75 or more a week in gas, and we've had this now for a little over a week, and we still have 3/4 of a tank of gas, right? And it's all been electric mostly, and it's kind of ideal for that situation.
Dope. Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, so I'm driving around in a Hummer H2, but I don't drive a lot either because I work from home. So it's.
I was gonna say, so now you got the Hummer, you're gonna be spending like what, 8 miles to the gallon?
Filling that bad boy up is just ugly. But I don't, And I'm in a position right now where, I mean, if I have to, like, I'm going up to New York and Connecticut this week, and I'm actually just renting a car because work's paying for it. So I'll end up renting a car, and I'll just drive the rental. So
yeah, good shit.
Yeah, I'm in good shape. So
yeah, there you go. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we just, between this episode and the one previous that we recorded back to back, we just spent 2 hours yapping. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good. We did what, hour and 15 last one, and then this one.
Holy shit! Does that say 55 minutes?
No, it does not.
Yes, it does. Oh my god! Here we are, like 20 in, going, oh my god, I'm babbling. So anyway, we'll cut out on this one, but this is more of the light-hearted talk. If you want a really good conversation, I would encourage you to listen to the previous episode, which is, I think, much deeper, and a good conversation. So, I guess that's it. Peace out, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.